All right, everybody, welcome back. Thanks for joining us. This is the Red Skull move set that we're doing. We're switching over to the villains. I think on the live stream, it probably still says Black Widow right now. We'll fix that later. So this is Red Skull, and this is the main, kind of villain. It's kind of equivalent to Captain America because you have this star ability, the superpower, that gives you kind of this universal advantage. So this is the leader of the Cabal, as you might know. A lot of cube stuff going on with Red Skull. And let's look at the basics. So starting out, we've got a 6 health, which is a little bit higher than average in the game. So that's good that Red Skull can take a little bit more of a beating. Has a medium move, which is about average as well, like most medium things. That's your, I'll get it a little bit better. That's your, essentially, threat distance to at least go toe-to-toe with somebody. And then has the basic strike, as most people do, and it is a 2-range attack. So if we look at, this is about our threat range, is this kind of a thing. So Red Skull can boogie. I mean, they're pretty standard. This measurement right here is the one that you need to memorize, I think. Like the medium to 2-range attack is probably the most useful thing that is going to be happening most often in the game of Crisis Protocol. So let's say we do take that move, and then we can do a strike here. We've got the 2 range, so we know that we're good there. And then this is a kind of the best of both worlds strike. So we get our 5-die attack. We get to roll those up. And then in this case, we'd have 3 successes. Captain America would roll defense, and we would subtract any successes from Captain America from our attack. But in this case, Captain America is just a test dummy, so we'll just say 0 defense for Cap. So we have 3 successes here. That means we would do 3 damage, assuming Cap's a 0 on the roll. And then Red Skull would gain 3 energy because it's that standard kind of top-level ability that allows you to gain energy. Now, it has a special ability. As long as you're showing the wild symbol by the resolution of the attack, you say before damage is dealt. So if you have the wild symbol in your pool, you can push the target away a small distance. So literally the thing that I can't get enough of, I mean, I guess that's not, maybe not literally. I will get enough of it at some point. Here's our little right angle. We line that up with the front of Red Skull's base here. And let's push. Anything in here. Let's just push Cap over here. So I can do anything in this area. Just can't cross this. So let's just go here. Boom. Pushed away. Good way to remove a threat, good way to get them off an objective. Those kinds of things become very important the more that you play. Then we've got the second ability, which is an energy attack called Cosmic Blast. It's a 4-range attack. That's your standard range for these kind of bigger ranged kind of shots, these energy attacks. So see there, that's Cap at range 4. Pretty nice. And that is a 5-die attack, and it costs 1 power. We have not seen a lot of 1-power attacks in the game. So Red Skull going to have, let's say you have 3 power, going to spend 1 to make the Cosmic Blast attack. That's a 5-die attack. It's energy, and it's at 4 range, so anything in this area of Red Skull, just put that model anywhere. Let's make sure Cap's in range. And then let's roll them up. So there's your attack. That'd be 4 hits, and I'd be very happy that I just did that in an actual game, but of course that's never going to happen. And then let's assume that one of these actually was a wild, so we can see the other resolution of this ability. Cosmic Blast says a wild symbol for sap power, so before damage is dealt, similar to the push on the strike, the target character loses 1 power for each wild in the attack roll, and this character gains that amount of power. That is tremendous. I did not even realize that when we were playing the other day, last week. Why was I not using this ability more often? This is like one of the best abilities in the game. Okay, so let's look at this. What do you think about this? What if I just did something like this? Let's see how many times can I say this in a sentence? Let's look at that. Okay, let's say Cap's got 3. I gave myself damage instead of power, because that's how cool I am. Let's say I've spent 1 for this ability. I made the attack, measured it out, Cap was in range. I roll all of these wilds, and then it says, before damage is dealt, the target loses 1 power for each wild in the attack roll. There are 3 wilds in the attack roll. Captain would lose 3 power. Unbelievable. And then I gain that amount of power, so then I would gain 3. Then I would deal damage, and in this case I'd deal 5 damage if Cap rolled 0, and then Cap would get 5 power back. So don't forget that you are always going to give power back to things that you do damage to, but my goodness, what a sponge. That's incredible. You'll find that Red Skull does a lot of power manipulation. Really excellent piece for the table on power manipulation. Red Skull is all about that cube, soaking up power, getting power, and powering other things on the team. So that's the Cosmic Blast. Then we'll look at Unleash the Cube. Let's get all this power out of the board here. We'll leave some on Red Skull because he often has plenty. This is a range 4 attack. So if we look again at the kind of the maximum threat range for this ability. Now remember, I do have a medium movement, so even if Cap's way back here, I can really throw the Hail Mary if I need to. I'm looking at probably something like that is where I can walk up and do a Unleash the Cube for 4 power. So this is a big moment. So we walk up, let's say we're within 4 there because we measured it. Let's unleash the cube. So first of all, I'm going to spend 4 power. Boom. Then I'm going to take 7 dice. My goodness. If this attack deals damage after it is resolved, this character may throw the target a small distance. I'm definitely going to be doing that. And then Reality Warp. So if I get a wild in the attack die pool, after this attack is resolved, the target character and characters within one of the target character gain the stun special condition. This character, so Red Skull, is not affected by that. So you can run into the middle of a party and blow out the pinata, and you are not going to be stunned. But if we have all of, let's just get this. Look at this. Look at these guys. They're all going to be talking about how they're about to save the Earth again, etc. And Red Skull is going to be ready. In fact, I mean, this is crazy. Look at that. All right, so they're just, it's like, hey, you guys want to save some stuff? Red Skull comes up here, spent the power. Let's roll those 7 dice on Cap here. And I'm going to flip this to a wild so we get to see what it looks like. That is a critical, so we can roll 1 in. Didn't do any good for us. We got another critical, so I can roll an additional 1 in. Skull not going to work for us. So then we pull these out, and we would do 5 successes. Cap would roll the defense roll there. We're going to assume it's 0 for the purpose of the kind of training dummy of Red Skull. And then if it deals damage, let's say it deals 5. Let's give Cap 5 damage here. That's what that looks like. And then Cap, of course, would also get 5 power. Just kind of getting in the habit of understanding how these things work. Then we can throw the character a small distance. Now, one of the best uses of this ability is throwing a character into a character, because that's going to do an instant 1 damage to whatever's being thrown, and it's going to make the character being thrown into use a dodge roll to try to get out of the way or take some additional damage. If I throw Cap into a piece of terrain, it's just an immediate 1 damage, which is great. I'm not saying that's bad, but throwing into a character is really nice because you get that instant damage and you also have the chance of doing more damage to the rest of the team. So let's say that we throw an Iron Man here. Again, this is a small throw, and when you're measuring from a character being thrown, you measure from that character. So even if Iron Man is all the way out here, Cap can go fly in here. Hup, 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 hup. So that's really great, and that would cause that roll to happen. And that's really important because this Reality Warp ability targets everything within 1 of the target after it's been thrown. Now, if you want to, you can resolve these abilities in whatever order you want because they both say after it's resolved, after this attack is resolved and after it's resolved. So if you want to, you can do a throw into a crowd of people and then trigger this Reality Warp, which would then stun everything around. That's what those stun tokens look like. I've got more of them over here. We can really just appreciate what the board looks like. Iron Man getting stunned. Everybody getting stunned. Everybody party, party. Or, if we want to, we can leave Cap here, stun everything, and then do a throw. So that's a really clever thing to think through whenever you're Red Skull. You can resolve those in whatever order that you want. So do the right thing. Being able to throw Cap into somebody and then stun both of them, that's what the money's made of right there. That's exactly what you want to be doing. Remember, in any of these cases where you stun something after the attack, that character that's damaged is still going to gain power before that stun takes effect. So that's probably going to be a pretty common question. Just remember your attack resolution on the back of the rule book. Very important. Okay, let's look at the superpowers. Masters of Evil. This is kind of the the opposite of Captain America, who has a day unlike any other. So Cap is reducing power costs for your team. Red Skull says, each time an allied character damages an enemy character with an attack, after the attack is resolved, the attacker gains 1 power. So powering up your entire team, as you do damage, you're going to continue to gain power and kind of hit the gas. Now remember, this is the affiliation Cabal. So at least half of your team must be made of Cabal members. If it's not, this ability is not active. So this is very similar. Arena Rex is a favorite of mine, and it's similar in that they have the same kind of thing where if your team makeup is at least half, you get the abilities of the faction. Very similar here. So you are considered kind of the Cabal affiliation if at least half of your models are in the Cabal affiliation or faction. Then we have 3 that are always on, 2 reactive, or 2 active, and then 1 reaction. Starting with Cosmic Cube, this is an active ability. It takes an action to do, and you immediately gain 3 power. Look at this. Costs 0 power to gain 3 power. That's like the best deal ever. What could go wrong there? I'll tell you what can go wrong. Then you roll 5 dice. For each skull rolled, this character suffers 1 damage, and it can only be used once per turn. So you gain 3 power, and then you roll the dice of fate. And if you roll really poorly, you can just knock yourself out, which is kind of thematic. I like it. In this case, I'd be unscathed. So, it's kind of one of those things where you just never quite know. Like, there's a lot of instances. I think there's 1 skull on an 8-sided die. So in most, worlds, you're going to take maybe 1 damage, maybe 2 damage. In that weird game where you take 5 damage, you just walk away. I mean, you know what I mean, right? You know what I'm talking about? You just walk away. It's like when you run into the asteroids in X-Wing. It's like, okay, I'm out of here. So there's that. So use it wisely, but don't use it unless you feel like you really need. I don't know. I always push the gas pedal on Red Skull. I always just get as many power dice as I can. Then we have Master of the Cube. That's a 3 power ability. So let's say I'm Red Skull. I'm going to spend 3 power. And this is not take an action, so you can do this during your turn. Choose this character or another allied character within 4 of this character. All right, so let's say I'm going to choose something within 4. Let's say we've got Ultron over here, causing all sorts of havoc. Look at that. Oh man, do you see me eye that? I'm getting good at this. There's 4. All right, I'm within 4 there. So let's say I choose Ultron. I could also, of course, always target myself, but I'm going to target something within 4 that's an ally. Place it within 2 of its current position. I can place. And when I place, let me read. This is the first place effect that we've done on the stream. So let me read you guys the place ability. All right, some effects can cause a character or object to be placed unless the effect says otherwise. Measure the range from the character being placed or the object. And then the character or object may be placed anywhere within that range as long as it can physically fit. Okay, so that's really important. It has to be able to fit or balance on top of a terrain feature. So like, I don't know, can you do that? You got to work that out. That's not mine to call. But let's say I want to put Ultron on a car. Look at that. Now he looks way more exciting. So Red Skull can do that. Now, you can only do this once per turn, and it's a really good way to either get characters out of trouble, which they often find themselves in, or move things into a contesting range for an objective. General, just control. I mean, you guys, you're placing stuff within 2 of its current location. You're going to find a way that that's useful probably once a game, and it's going to make a huge difference. So you're mastering the cube, costs you 3 power, place something or yourself. It's essentially kind of a quick teleport ability. And then finally we have Hail Hydra. 2 power, so I've got to have at least 2, which is no problem for Red Skull. Let's remove those 2. When this character is targeted by an attack, it may use this superpower. So let's say that Captain America comes up here and says, I want to shield slam you. Let's do it. Choose another allied character within 2. Aha, maybe that's a really good use for Master of the Cube. I can move things into be my bodyguard range. It's the new target, regardless of range or line of sight. So most notably, even though Captain America maybe has a range of 2 on this attack, I can push this back to Ultron, who's well behind me. So it doesn't break the range line of sight problem. As long as it's within 2 of Red Skull, it's now the new target and you resolve it accordingly. So it's a really good way to keep Red Skull alive, which you'll find is a really important thing, especially if this Master of Evil ability is happening. It's really important for your opponent to get that off the board because it's a huge advantage. So Red Skull is going to take some heat, and as long as you have some things around to soak up that damage and a couple of power to make that happen, then you're going to be just fine. And that's going to keep Red Skull alive for longer. All right, so that's all of Red Skull's abilities. If we flip to the injured side, nothing changes. So there's nothing that you need to relearn on the injured side of this card. And that is Red Skull, kind of the master of the Cabal, the Cube Man himself. And you can tell a lot of good stories with Red Skull, no doubt. I do believe that Unleash the Cube ability is really how Red Skull is going to change the game whenever you have your moment. Being able to go in and stun a bunch of characters basically means either A, their power generation is very limited moving forward. Remember, whenever they're stunned, they can only gain 1 power. Even if they would gain 5, 6, 7, they can only gain 1. And then secondarily, they have to shake to get rid of that condition, so you're denying both actions and power. It's really nice whenever, if Red Skull can go in there and stun something, and then the rest of your turn, your characters are attacking that model, and normally that would really power that model up, give it a lot of juice because it's taking damage. But when they're stunned, they can only gain 1, and that makes it really easy to kind of stack on the damage and not have that big retaliation attack. Really, really nice model. So Red Skull, I'll take it to the live chat here. Let's see if anything is relevant in the chat. Oh, Atomic Mass. Hey guys, we love your game. It's great. Ryan Roper, both abilities are after it's resolved, so you can also throw them a short distance and then stun. We are totally on the same page. Let's see, anything else? Can you reveal? a lot of questions for Atomic Mass. Can you tell us everything? No, I guess not. Ryan Roper says Cap's ability is better with higher cost powers, and Red Skull's is better with a bunch of 1-cost attacks. That's definitely true. A lot of attacks generate a lot of power whenever Red Skull is on the board, and that's something to definitely keep in mind. Also very relevant, Master of the Cube can make things jump over terrain they couldn't otherwise get over. So where's my 2? I know that it's around. Miniatures games, there they are. So you can throw something over a car. Most things can jump over a car. I'd say that you can get something over this Daily Bugle, for sure. Like if it's, if you've got your little Ultron here, maybe not the best example, you can use that cube ability to place on the other side of a terrain piece, which is really nice. So those are all very good suggestions from Ryan. And then a good ShamWow joke. So we've got it all on the stream today. So thank you guys so much for watching this. This is Red Skull. We're going to run through the rest of the villains. I think next up, let's do Doc Ock. We're going to go from largest to smallest villains moving forward. I guess we should do Ultron now. Let's do Ultron next. So stick around for Ultron. We will be here for you doing the full move set of all of the characters out of the core set so that you understand exactly how everything functions going into your first games of Crisis Protocol. You can get started playing and have that much less of a problem moving forward. So thank you for watching. Until next time, keep playing.